I'm really hoping you can actually hear me because it's so windy here. We're at the launch of the brand new North American Volkswagen ID Buzz. We've been waiting so long. This thing was revealed 7 years ago. 6 years ago, we actually had the opportunity to drive the concept, the one-off at a marketing photo shoot in California. And you know what? We've been waiting patiently. Finally here. We're gonna drive it on the winding roads, on the highway. We're gonna explore the inside, and we're gonna give you our top 5 why buys for this new electric bus from Volkswagen, and a few maybe why not buy this vehicle. So stay tuned. Number 5, the fact that it's a bus or a van. A lot of people ask for recommendations. What vehicle should I buy? I often say, buy a van or a minivan if you're planning to transport people. First of all, most of the time they have 3 rows of seats. Also for moving all your stuff, you get a covered area, and unlike a pickup truck, you wanna make a trip to IKEA or the local hardware store and it's raining, no problem, just throw it all in there. Plus, you get these, which are the sliding doors. The ID Buzz has power sliding doors, both sides, as well as the rear power liftgate, and they are hands-free as well if you just want to do a kick. The benefit of these doors for sure though is if you have kids, they don't have to swing the door open. You're not going, oh no, you know, you're gonna hit another vehicle. So that's a big bonus. You can open them remotely. That's another bonus. It just offers a huge wide opening to get people in or out or just load cargo in. Now, in North America, our ID Buzz is 10 inches longer than the European version, and that's in wheelbase and as in length. And that's all in the middle area right here. So this home, it's basically been stretched because we like things a little bit bigger. And hey, bigger's always better, right? Number 4, that's the interior grooviness. Yes, it is groovy, and it should be. This is a modern Volkswagen bus. You sit up nice and high here, like really high. You kind of have to step in here, but once you get in here, you get these great blends of materials and different colors that you have. We have the lighter color here, but these seats are heated, they're ventilated, they're even massaging. In Canada, for the first year, we'll only get the first edition. Essentially, they're loaded vehicles, completely loaded. The only thing that you can choose is a 2-tone paint or this roof here, which is, it's an electrochromatic roof. Watch this. I'm not sure you can see on this camera here. See? It's almost clear and then completely opaque. Just like that. Wild. So that's an extra $2,000. Up front though, you do get a 12.9 inch screen. It's a larger screen, same as what you would get on the ID4. This is the latest system, wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. But these seats though, here's a cool thing. We have armrests on both sides, and they have a button so you can adjust them however you want. So talk about comfort. You ride up nice and high, big massive windshield, and just cruise down the road. Up front, we have a drink holder that you can actually stow away if you'd like. Above that, we actually have our buttons for our sliding doors, and they are power operated, of course. And check this out. So many USB-Cs here. So 8 in total, and they are 45 watts. And that's not split between 8 of them. Every one is 45 watts. As you can see, the storage area above the glove compartment, storage areas, and another USB-C in the door panel. And this here, this is like a buzz box, I believe that's what they call it. This console is removable, and you can also swap it for the rear. So the first editions in Canada will come as a rear-wheel drive or a 4Motion all-wheel drive. The rear-wheel drive will come with a bench seat for the second row, so a total of 7 passengers. If you go for the all-wheel drive, you get the captain seats that you see right here, and so that makes it a 6-passenger vehicle. Here's something pretty groovy as well. On the sliding doors, you get power sliding rear windows as well. Also, tri-zone climate control, so you have dual up front. In the rear, you have climate control, and in the third row, you actually have air vents. In the concept vehicle, they actually had a play and pause button for the pedals, and they continued that theme on this production version as well. Number 3, and that is the drivetrain. The beauty of a van slash bus is you get a lot of room in between the wheels to add batteries. So this has a 91 kilowatt hour battery. In Canada, we do get rear wheel drive or 4Motion all-wheel drive. So rear wheel drive, you get 282 horsepower electric motor for the rear, 413 pound-feet of torque, and that is instant electric torque. That'll get you up and going really, really quick. If you go for the 4Motion, well, we're gonna add on one motor for the front, obviously, and that's gonna add on 100 pound-feet more of torque as well, 335 horsepower combined, and it makes this thing very, very quick. Quicker than you probably want to drive this, especially since you're probably carrying passengers in here. 0 to 60 miles an hour, 6 seconds flat. 0 to 100K, 6.4. That is definitely decent. But once again, when those batteries are nice and low, you get a tall vehicle. Like this thing is like 6 inches taller than an Atlas. It's such a welcome addition to have that weight down there just to anchor this large vehicle. We are going around these beautiful twisty roads here in the Bay Area. This is really, really twisty, and surprisingly, this large vehicle, even though it has so much capability and utility inside, the footprint is fairly small. The wheelbase stretched front to back right to the ends, and this actually drives smaller than what you would think for a vehicle that has this much space inside. For the first time ever, Volkswagen is offering on these first editions, it comes standard in Canada, is a flip out tow hitch. So it's a 2-inch receiver. It comes standard on the first editions in Canada. You get 2,600 pounds of towing capacity for the rear wheel drive, and for the all-wheel drive, that bumps it up to 3,500 pounds. So that's pretty well, it's gonna carry everything that you kind of really need in a vehicle this size. So driving the Buzz, you really do sit up very, very high. That windshield is big, and it's actually far from you, actually farther than I was expecting. I figured that, you know, like the old bus, you actually sat almost right at the very front of the bus. So there's gonna be a lot more for safety, actually not being right at the front there. Very good turning radius, and you have these side windows. One thing that I do wish that they would add to this would be a digital mirror. So you'd have a camera outside, because if you have 7 passengers or 6 passengers in here, or a lot of cargo, you're not gonna be able to see anything out of your rear view mirror. So it'd be nice to be able to have that camera to see outside. But yeah, very, very spacious, headroom galore on here. Now these twisty roads, the steering is actually very, very quick, as you can see here. Really, really quick. But you are driving a box, but it's fairly flat for sure. The suspension is not as soft as you would actually expect though. But taking these corners, it really drives smaller than what it is. One thing to note, the ID family of vehicles actually all use drum brakes for the rear. The reason, well, because EVs use a lot of regen braking. In fact, a lot of times people don't know, they figure, oh, I don't have to do brake jobs because I'm not using the brakes, but that is a problem as well, because if you're not using your friction brakes very often, your rotors actually get pitted, and you end up having to do brake jobs on brakes that you barely use. So they figured, hey, most of the time you are using mainly regen braking. So essentially Volkswagen feels that that is all you need. And even in panic braking, of course, the drum brakes are gonna work, but most of the braking power is gonna come from the front and the regen braking. Also, Volkswagen products do not have one pedal driving. Just to be aware that if you like one pedal driving, you're not gonna get it on the Volkswagen. It does have regen braking, but not the one pedal where it'll come to a complete stop like some people like. I don't personally like one pedal driving, but I do like it when manufacturers include it and allow you to have the option of turning it on or off. But you don't get that here. Number 2, and that has to be the roominess of the cabin. It is so big here. In the second row, we have the captain seats here. Once again, you can get the bench for the rear wheel drive. These seats slide forward and back. I can really fully extend my legs completely here. We have those windows, lots of storage back here. Okay, this is what everybody wants to see. Hey, it's a people mover, right? The third row. Tilt that second row back, it slides forward, and look at this. This actually tilts to an angle that if you have a child seat here, you don't even have to remove it to get into the third row. But a lot of SUVs, normally this area here is very narrow and it's hard to even fit your feet in. Look at the size of the Buzz for the opening here, and there is the third row. I'm just gonna show you how easy it is to step in. And we can just go back here, pull this back. All right, you see? There is so much room back here. Yeah, we say that for a lot of SUVs with a third row, but Volkswagen actually claims that the ID Buzz has the most legroom, most third row room than any other production vehicle in North America. That includes compact SUVs, full-size SUVs even, and even minivans. This has oodles and oodles of space. Check out my foot and leg room. It is the same amount of room that you would get in second row vehicles in a lot of SUVs. And I can actually go and slide the third row even forward and back. That is very, very unusual. And since this is an EV, completely flat floor. We have another USB-C cup holder, another cup holder. There are our air vents back here. We have lights, so much room. Sometimes in third rows of SUVs or even minivans, you actually sit up higher, get kind of perched up like an arena seating. This is a proper seat. Regardless if you are large or small, old or young, this is a very, very good place to go on a road trip and sit back here for a long time, actually. And if you're not using the third row, we can fold these down completely flat. The second row folds down completely flat as well. And with that flex board back there, you could easily be 7 feet tall, put a big, huge air mattress in here and do some camping in here. Lots and lots of room. You can actually remove, without any tools or anything, the third row, and they're not light, but about 50 pounds or so. They're even on wheels to actually pull out, so they made it really easy for you. Second row seats are not removable, well, definitely not easily removable, so, but the third row, absolutely. Let's get on to the next one. And number 1 on our top 5 why buys of this new Volkswagen ID Buzz, well, hey, just look at this thing. First of all, colors. You have so many different vibrant colors, from the pomelo yellow that we saw earlier. We got red, blue, green. We got the two-tone paint. Remember, we only get the first editions in Canada. Only 2 options. You get that electrochromatic roof, or you get the two-tone, and the two-tone paint that you see here comes standard with 20-inch stocked-in wheels. Now these covers here, they come off, and when you take them off, it reveals quite a good looking wheel. But Volkswagen is planning to come out with different colors. So perhaps different colors, different patterns. So whatever your mood feels like, they're easy to pop on and off. And I love how Volkswagen really didn't stray too far from the initial spirit of the concept. And that often happens where you get a concept, looks fabulous, production version comes out and you're like, you know, it's nothing like the concept. Well, they did a great job. It still retains that coolness factor, that retro type of look and feel of the initial Volkswagen bus, the micro bus, yet you have the modern touches, of course, with the lighting treatment, the light up emblem. Everything about this Buzz just really, really just screams, look at me. Are there any negatives for the ID Buzz? I wouldn't consider these negatives, but things to be aware of. First of all, we didn't talk about charging or range. So charge speed, maximum 200 kilowatts, which is actually very good. I would say that's as fast as pretty well what you need. It's hard to find, 300 plus kilowatt chargers anyway. So that will take you from 10 to 80% in just 25 minutes. So that is good. However, range is a little bit on the shy side. I would say 372 kilometers for the all-wheel drive, 378 kilometers for the rear-wheel drive, pretty well the same. And these days, you're looking at like 400 is usually kind of like the average minimum for an all-wheel drive EV. So yeah, it's a little bit on the shy side, but we did hear from some other folks that have been driving this internally for Volkswagen, for instance, and they said they've actually been able to achieve over 400, even 420 kilometers. So it's all going to depend how you drive for sure. We mentioned the no one pedal driving. So if that is a concern for you, this may not be the right vehicle for you. As well, this doesn't have any type of vehicle to load type of feature. So can you power your house with this vehicle? No. Can you even power your fridge or anything? No. You have your 45 watt USBs. You do have a 110 outlet here, but it's only rated for 150 watts, which really isn't going to power very much. So I would like to see them include something like that, because you have this big 91 kilowatt hour battery. Why not use it if you have to power your house or even for camping? Now, speaking of camping, this does not have a camping utility or a dog mode where you can leave the vehicle on without actually having the powertrain turned on. So you can use your climate control, good for camping, or once again, dog mode like Tesla has. Volkswagen says it is on their roadmap. It's on their radar. It's something that they are looking into, and it's probably something that could be done over the air as well. So hopefully that will come in future editions of the ID Buzz. Then we get to price. These are in Canadian dollars. Make sure to check with your local Volkswagen website to see what pricing is in your area. But in Canada, we only get first editions, which are fully loaded, and you have your option of rear-wheel drive, which starts at $77,495, and you get the all-wheel drive, which is $82,995. Yes, it is not inexpensive. Some people may compare it to, well, there's not a lot of vehicles in this category that are three-row EVs that are a premium or luxury brand, but the first one that comes to mind would be the Kia EV9. We tested that. Make sure to watch that if you haven't watched it. We were big fans of that vehicle, and that one in the top trim with a GT line, all-wheel drive, long range, will run you about $82,000, so about the same price. However, you will be getting a little bit more range, you're getting a little bit faster charging, and it is a little quicker as well. So yeah, you might want to weigh that out. But what you're not getting though is you're not getting this much room. Like that third row is almost like a game changer. If you are buying a Buzz for actually transporting people and you want a usable third row, nothing is going to beat that. Not right now. That is it. Plus, you don't get the funkiness of this design. It's wild. This could be marketed to so many different people. You could just be an active person. Hey, like you want to carry your friends, you want to go snowboarding, surfing, use this as an activity vehicle. You have all-wheel drive, put winter tires on here, go up to the mountain, surfboards on top. We didn't even talk about that. You can get roof rails on here. Dynamic load is 100 kilograms, which is 220 pounds. So you could put a roof tent on there if you so chose. But this is also good for families. Lots of interior room with a smaller footprint than you would actually expect with this type of utility. So that's also really, really good. And if you had a business that you want to promote, you want to put graphics and wrap a vehicle, I don't think there's a better vehicle than this. First of all, this just gets looks on its own. So you put a real fancy, fancy wrap on it. And I can see a lot of companies going down that path for marketing value for this vehicle. So that's it for our first look at the new ID Buzz from Volkswagen. What do you think? Leave a comment below. If you have any suggestions, leave them down there as well. Make sure also hit that bell notification so you'll know when the next everyday review drops. And it could be when we actually have one of these to test for a week, for instance, to see how it handles our day-to-day family activities. I think it would actually handle them very well. Yeah, and Volkswagen, if you'd like someone to test it longer, if you want to drop one of these into my driveway and for like a month or something, hey, I think we could probably make that happen. So that's it. Till next time, ciao. Like always, if you liked this video or any other content on this channel, I've got a lot of videos out there, not just for cars, by the way. We have tech stuff, even automated lawnmowers and travel reviews as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. First of all, it doesn't cost anything. It's absolutely free. I do all of this free of charge for you. If you could hit that like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated.